This is called Google's Helpful Content Update, How Black Hat SEOs Ruined Blogs, or at least that's the title. That's the working title that I have. If you don't know what the Google Helpful Content Update is, it's this update that rolled out. Honestly, it's been a gradual rollout, but it started August 2022. It's continually updated, and it's been taking down a lot of blogs, especially blogs. I mean, it's taken down a lot of stuff. It's by taken down, I mean websites have received what almost looked like a penalization, like a tag within Google that they can't recover from. They can't have their search traffic, their organic search traffic from Google recover from. Google called the Helpful Content Update more content by people for people in search. And in fact, the Google Helpful Content Update has gotten so intense that even HubSpot, and I talked about this recently, has lost 80% of its blog traffic. So it wasn't just small blogs. It was lots of different blogs, small blogs especially, but lots of SEOs who had a content-based business. They lost everything. They lost their entire businesses. And this was white hat SEOs, ones who were playing by the book, who were doing things within the rules. And it was lots of black hat SEOs as well, ones who were doing things against the rules. And I have a theory as to what actually happened. I haven't heard this from anybody. I came up with this on my podcast a few days ago, episode 580 of this show, with Nick Musica, who joined, who's been doing SEO for 22 years. And we talked about this theory. And I had just literally came up with it on that podcast. And then I mused about it afterwards. I thought about it afterwards. And it really makes a lot of sense for what the Helpful Content Update is, why it happened, and if it is possible to bounce back from it. And if you still don't completely understand who's being targeted, you'll understand more as I explain the theory. But it's pretty interesting. So SEO, typically people think, when they think of SEO, they think of doing search engine optimization with blogs, with articles, with how-to articles or why articles explaining things for searchers who are looking to understand something. And then the SEOs will put in links to their own products or to affiliate products within these articles. It's a way to get people into the top of your funnel. What happened was lots of SEOs and marketers got really good at this. People were making all of these articles that looked the same. It was these long, what were called skyscraper technique articles, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 word articles. It wouldn't just answer one keyword. It wouldn't target just one keyword. It targets many keywords. And it worked really well. And if you were a searcher, you probably experienced pain from this. You probably Googled something trying to learn about it, got onto one of these articles, and then you had to search the article for like 5 or 10 minutes to find what you wanted. It was a huge pain, but it kept you as a searcher on the page. But still, for you hated it as a searcher. It had engagement metrics for the website, so it was good for the website, but it was a terrible UX for the searchers. And I learned this actually because of my TikTok and my Instagram. I make daily short form videos. I've been doing it for, I don't even know how many days in a row, since November 1st, 2022, haven't missed a day since starting. A lot of my videos are about search engine optimization. I don't show my results anymore like I used to. And the reason for that is when I showed positive results, and I play by the rules, and I'm not doing these top of funnel articles that people hate. That's what they think of when they think of search engine optimization. When I say, I've been doing SEO for a long time, here are some of the results I'm getting, here's what I'm doing, people assume that I am just making these long articles that they hate. And so you will see in my comments, SEO is like the worst thing ever. You are the worst person ever. You should die. People will write horrible things because they think that I am the reason that they would land on one of these articles and have to scroll through it for 5 to 10 minutes to get their answers. That's what they assume search engine optimization is. People, searchers hated that. In fact, they hated it so much that they started adding plus Reddit or plus Quora to their searches because they knew that they would get their answers faster and they knew that they could trust it more. Another part of this problem was this technique in SEO worked so well that all the bad actors started copying it. They started making all these long articles about things that they didn't even know anything about. And they would review products that they didn't even try because it had the best affiliate deal. they would put their affiliate links in these articles. So you had articles from bad actors that maximize getting searchers on a page. They would have these long, annoying introductions. The answer wouldn't be until like way below, way down in the page. And then when you finally did get the answer, it would be nebulous at best. It wasn't even a great answer, but it used the keyword. So the page ranked well. And then it was a long page because Google liked these long pages. It would recommend products it had never tried. The website would recommend products it had never tried. And it's worth noting that even though the helpful content update was introduced in August of 2022, it got really intense a year later in 2023. The reason for that is because at the end of 2022, ChatGPT was introduced. And so ChatGPT launched. And so all these black hat SEOs or these bad actors, they started using AI to generate their articles. So they were doing the same technique, except now they were doing it with AI. So the content was even worse. It was even more untested because the AI had never used anything. The AI wasn't actually giving an honest, real review. And SEOs were able to put out more of these articles. And so what happened was you actually had these good actors who were following the rules, but the bad actors were copying the good actors. And as a searcher, you land on a page, you don't know who is a good actor or who is a bad actor. You don't know who is actually tested versus who is not tested. And a lot of these articles, they sounded similar to what the good actors were making. And as a searcher, it didn't matter if you landed on a page from a good actor or a bad actor. There were so many bad actors who were deluging this that you just assumed everyone, as a searcher, you just assumed that everyone was a bad actor. And so you wanted to stay so far away from this content. You didn't want this in your search engine results pages. Like I said, you started adding Reddit to your searches, or you're now using ChatGPT to get your answers because you could get your answer faster with ChatGPT than looking through a 3,000 word ChatGPT generated article to find the answer. You could still at least get it faster from ChatGPT and then query ChatGPT about it. So these searchers, they couldn't distinguish between the good actors and the bad actors. They just knew that they didn't want it because the good stuff resembled the bad stuff too much. And the reason for that is because, like I said, the bad actors copied the good actors. And so here is what I believe happened. And all of this is theory, but this is what I believe happened. Google saw this behavior trend. People, they didn't want this content. The people didn't know who was a good actor, who was a bad actor. They didn't want this content because they assumed that everyone was a bad actor. So they were going to Reddit, to Quora, to YouTube, to TikTok, to Instagram, and of course to ChatGPT, to other AI chatbots. They were moving away from Google search, and Google's like, we need to fix this. We have a content problem. And so Google just de-indexed all of these small blogs that looked similar. Anything that wasn't really a brand name, which is why even the large sites that were also doing this, like Forbes, they weren't really doing it with the AI generated text, but they were still putting out articles about products that they didn't review and using affiliate links, but at least it was a trusted name. And then you see Forbes, USA Today, all of these big publications eventually getting hit. HubSpot is getting hit. But the small blogs, they all started getting de-indexed, or their rankings, they just lost so much of their traffic, of their organic traffic and their rankings. And you saw it across the board from good actors and from bad actors. And you would see good actors commenting on X, on Twitter, or on Reddit saying, we played by the rules. We followed Google's directions. We had employees. We can't afford to pay them anymore. We're completely wiped out. And it's because Google, they saw the behavior shift. They saw the behavior trend. And they're like, we can't give searchers this. They don't want it, and they are leaving Google search. And we need to fix this right now before it gets too serious. And so they just put out, and that's why Lars Lofgren, when he came on my podcast, Lars Lofgren was one of Neil Patel's early employees, or maybe his first, and he was doing SEO with Neil Patel. Lars Lofgren was doing SEO with Neil Patel. He came on my podcast. That was episode 470, and Lars described the Google Helpful Content update in that episode as like a manual tag, and you would just kind of see it as this tag, and then your traffic just goes boop, it just goes down, and then it just stays down. And you'll see sites that claim to have a recovery. It pales in comparison to what the traffic that they used to actually get. Maybe before the recovery, they were getting, I don't know, 10 clicks a day. Now they're getting 20 or 30 clicks a day. But before, they were getting several hundred clicks a day or several thousand clicks a day. And a recovery from 10 to 20 isn't really a recovery. So the recoveries that people have claimed have been minimal. And so that's what I believe happened. That's what I believe caused the Google Helpful Content update. It was too many bad actors copying the good actors with a strategy that worked, just trying to hold searchers hostage on their pages by putting in these long introductions and all this unnecessary information, all of this fluff. And it's also why searchers are just normal people, because everybody's a searcher. They assume that SEO is an activity like that. And that's why they leave these nasty comments in my videos when I show results that I have, which is also why I don't show results anymore. Not because of the nasty comments. I can deal with nasty comments. I get them all the time. But there is a concern that I have that people could do things to reduce my rankings. It's like maybe say, oh, this result, too many people report one of my results as being irrelevant just because they don't like me. And you can do that. You can go to Google, you can click on the 3 dots, hit feedback, and then what's your feedback about? And you can leave feedback about like why this content, why this result in Google is irrelevant. So I don't want to deal with that. And so I don't share my results anymore publicly like I used to, which really sucks because sharing results was really good. People loved it. I like sharing it. But too many normal people who are just searchers who see my viral videos, they assume that I am making the type of content that holds them hostage on a page. So, okay. So now I've talked about what the Google Helpful Content update is, who it was targeting, why it was created, why it was necessary. And now I'm going to get to, is actually a recovery possible? Will this content work again? The content that got hit, will it work again? I actually think maybe a recovery is possible, but I don't think the type of content that used to work will work anymore. So I think a recovery, I previously said in a different episode, you should probably create a new site if you've been hit with the Google Helpful Content update. That's what a lot of people say. Now that I realize what most likely happened, and again, this is theory, but from everyone that I've talked to, from everything that I've seen, this makes a lot of sense. And if you've been doing search engine optimization for a while, you'll know that this really makes a lot of sense. So now I think maybe a recovery is possible if your content sounds and looks really different than a normal top of funnel blog, than the stuff that was ranking really well, the stuff that got hit because it was holding the searchers hostage on a page and it just all looked the same. I think if your writing sounds a lot more human written, if the website looks different, and if you're not making these 3,000 word articles that are going after these exact top of funnel keywords, a variety of them, and all of this content, if you're making this content, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But if you have top of funnel content that looks different and sounds different, it's possible actually, I think that it could rank a lot better than what other blogs are doing. So something that I started doing, and I got this actually from the search engine optimization subreddit, I thought it was an interesting thing that was discussed. I started adding TLDRs to the top of my articles. And all of my articles, I don't make top of funnel content. I think it's a waste of time compared to bottom of funnel content. I've talked about this ad nauseum on the podcast, but bottom of funnel content requires way less words. It ranks a lot faster. It converts a lot better. So it's easier, it's less work, it's less competitive, way higher converting. And it's like when you see this and experience this, why would you want to go back to top of funnel? So I don't do top of funnel, I only really do bottom of funnel. But I have a weekly newsletter, and my weekly newsletter is more about top of funnel. It's just more interesting. Bottom of funnel is for people who know exactly what they want, but they don't know the brand that's going to give it to them. They're looking for a solution. They don't know the brand that has a solution, so they're searching. But people on my newsletter, it's more so they want to hear interesting things. They want to hear interesting things about marketing, about social media, about SEO. They want to learn new tricks. And that's more top of funnel. That's why they're subscribed to my newsletter. If you want to be subscribed to that newsletter, it's edwardsturm.com/newsletter. Link to this will be in the description. But anyway, I write these weekly newsletters and then I take them and I republish them as articles on my site because I already wrote them. So I want to have them on my site as an archive for people to binge on, and then anything that can attract searchers as well. Anything that will live on my site and attract searchers to it through SEO. So what I do is when it's relevant, I look for a keyword that matches what the article is about or what the newsletter I wrote is about, and I use that keyword as the newsletter title, but only on my website. I have a different subject line for the actual newsletter. So the newsletter comes out to an article on my website, and then that article has a new title. And that title, when possible, is a keyword. And then in the article, I say a TLDR at the top of the article, too long, didn't read. So to give you just an overview, like to try to give the searcher their answer really fast, which is totally not what you see from these blogs that were holding searchers hostage, and the searchers hated that. And then these are the type of blogs that got de-indexed. So that's something that I'm doing different. I think my site as a whole looks very different from these normal blogs. The content that's on it looks very different from these normal blogs. And by normal blogs, I mean the blogs that were hit by the Google Helpful Content Update. And so you have your own voice and your own look. You're not using some common WordPress theme and quickly spinning up all of these top of funnel articles and getting the same backlinks that everybody is getting. You're doing things that have your own feel. And you're not trying, like I said a ton of times, you're not trying to hold searchers hostage on your page. That's when it's possible that this actually top of funnel content could return. But I don't think now the question, will it return to the extent that it used to return? Will blog SEOs return to the extent that we had them before in 2022 and 2021? And I'm going to say no. The reason for that is I think people will eventually forget, searchers will eventually forget how bad they got effed by the bad actors. They'll forget the pain that they experienced clicking on a result and spending so long to get their answer. And when they finally got their answer, it wasn't even good. It wasn't even a thorough answer. They'll forget that pain. But by the time they forget that pain, they're going to be using AI a lot more. They're going to be used to getting their answers from user-generated content. And there's still the issue that Google needs to distinguish between legit people who actually know about the products and services that they're writing about, the content that they're writing about, who has experience with it, versus the people who don't. Google needs to be able to distinguish that. And it's very hard for Google to distinguish that. An easy way is to look at sites that just have a lot of relevance within that specific niche. But even then, a lot of these bad actors, they started making niche sites to go after top of funnel keywords that had a lot of volume behind them with the same looking content. But I still think it's possible. One of the reasons I think it's possible is because a lot of my top of funnel content ranks. A lot of my newsletters that I turn into articles actually rank well for the keywords that I find and use as the article titles. I put the keywords in the 5 critical places: the page title, the beginning of the meta description. So it's the beginning of the page title, beginning of the meta description, the URL slug, the H1, and the beginning of the first sentence. And you do that, and you have content that's not 2,000, 3,000 words. It looks different. And you're not going, it's harder if you're competing with a term that people just want to get their answer from Reddit. And it's still like a lot of people just trust Reddit a lot more than smaller blogs. But a lot of my top of funnel stuff is ranking. So, okay, here's my conclusion. I think it's possible that you could have a bounce back with top of funnel content, but at the same time, a lot of top of funnel searchers prefer to get their answers from Reddit, from Quora, and it's because it's harder to game Reddit. It's just straight up. There's moderators on subreddits, and a lot of them do their jobs. There's plenty of people who slip through the cracks, and I talk about those bad actors on the show because it's entertaining, and people like to do it themselves. But that's not the norm. The norm is when you get your answer from Reddit, it'll be a decent answer with someone who actually has direct experience with what they're writing about. And it'll be a faster answer than getting it from a blog. I think some queries, some top of funnel queries, it'll return for, especially ones that you're not, like I said, you're not competing with Reddit for. But, I can't really imagine. I find it hard to imagine like those best of lists. You search for a product and you get a list of the 10 best products that are similar. I think it's hard to imagine those best of lists returning, things like that. And I'll explain why. I think you would just rather see someone's direct experience on Reddit, and you would just trust that more than you would a blog now. Maybe the behavior will change. It's hard to predict that. But overall, like, would I advise somebody to spend time doing top of funnel SEO if they weren't already making the content for it? And I would say no. If they already had the content, sure, repurpose that content as articles on your blog. That makes sense. That's what I'm doing. I believe that makes a lot of sense. You're just repurposing existing content. But actually starting a blog for the purpose of SEO, I think is a huge waste of time. And so that's my take on Google's helpful content update. I have an entire product about bottom of funnel search engine optimization where searchers are looking for a solution. They just don't know the brand that provides that solution. That product is called Compact Keywords. It's on my shirt. I spent 11 months making it. It's really good, getting people tons of results. Bottom of funnel SEO, none of my bottom of funnel SEO pages have been negatively impacted over the many years that they've existed for. I've had bottom of funnel pages that I made in 2019, 2020 that have received no decrease in organic traffic in that time. Or if anything, they've only increased, and I haven't even changed the pages, and these pages are short, 400 to 500 words. This is the type of content that's really useful, that the writer has direct experience in the domain in, that's giving searchers their answers fast, because if you're making bottom of funnel content, you're doing it to sell your services or your products, and you have direct experience with that. And so you put these pages up that give searchers their answers really fast. Literally, like, it's a H1, a 2 to 3 sentence introduction, and then a call to action button to get your solution right there. And if you're not ready to convert, you read the rest of the short page, and then there's another call to action button. Searchers get what they want really fast with these pages. And it's a lot harder to disrupt things with Reddit. Unless somebody is targeting the direct bottom of funnel keyword on Reddit, but a lot of these bottom of funnel keywords, they're way less competitive. There's just way less people writing about them. They're way more niche, and there's so many of them. You can learn more, compactkeywords.com. Anyway, that's my take on the Google Helpful Content Update, and basically why these Black Hat SEOs ruined blog SEO as a marketing technique. I think that's probably what happened. All the data, to me, everything that I've seen, everyone that I've talked to seems to suggest that. And if you're doing blog SEO and considering to return to it, I would recommend against it unless it was content that you had already made for some other purpose. That is my take. The alternative, if you're wondering what you should do now, start a product and do bottom of funnel SEO for that product. And it can be any type of product. It could be a service. It could be a SaaS, a software as a service. So it could be a software tool, a web app. It could be an e-commerce product. It could be anything that people are paying money for. And then actually do bottom of funnel search engine optimization for that product. Build a brand around that product. Do videos. I talk about how well videos rank on Google now. Short form videos rank super well on Google now. Do videos around that product too. So build like a brand around that product and use your SEO knowledge to dominate the SERPs within your niche for that product or service. That would be my advice. All right. This is episode 581. 581 of my daily digital marketing podcast. 581 days in a row. It's crazy how many shows I've done now, how many days in a row I've gone for now. And thank you everyone for listening and for watching. And I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.